I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good Lord, be with us this day as we deliberate the business of the county. Help us, Lord, to keep in mind what's best for our county residents, Lord, and what's best for our county as a whole. Help us guide and direct us, Lord, as we deliberate this business. Ask all these things, Lord, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. All right, as we start today, has everybody had a chance to look at the meetings from February 27th, 2024?
Yes, I did, and I seen one error.
It's probably the one that they saw that I fixed.
Good.
When was it?
Steve made the motion and seconded the motion.
I think I.
No kidding. I didn't catch that.
You remember which one that was on?
The very last one.
You're not allowed to do that, Steve. Did you know that?
I tried.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the only error I
Yeah.
see.
I see it.
Problem with multiple Steves. Make
All right.
Make a
I'll
motion to
correct it
approve
here, but
as
I'll also correct
corrected.
it when I get upstairs.
That's fine.
You can approve it if I wrote it in.
Approve as amended?
I guess Steve can't motion and second, can he?
No.
Okay, he's important, but not that important.
Only Stan can do that.
All right.
Did you make the motion?
I did.
Second.
Okay, motion carries to approve the minutes from February 27th, 2020.
Fix that.
Okay. Okay. All right, Tony, what do you have for us today?
Okay, I'm gonna let Tara come up from the health department first. She can explain the grant that she is seeking, and she's here. She'll be at the council next week.
Gotcha.
Because per county policy on grants, it's necessary to get approval from both bodies, and then as the grant process goes through, we'll have all the things that we need. So I'll let Tara explain how much and what it's for.
Okay, so it was brought to my attention a couple months ago that IDEN put out a significant grant for waste fire removal, and you could apply for up to $10,000. I went through the application process and just got notified yesterday that the Adams County Health Department is a potential awardee pending completing the grant documents of the full $10,000. I had submitted it and I had talked to Adams County Solid Waste District that we would be teaming up with this project together, along with Cobalt Hastings with out of Sturgis, Michigan, to do tire amnesty days for the community.
Cool.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So we are thinking, we kind of fiddled with the cost and what it's going to be per semi and stuff like that. And we think we could get rid of quite a bit of tires for $10,000.
Good.
So,
So is that something that we would use for property cleanup?
Yes, we would just be putting it out there. We definitely need to kind of dial in together, us and the solid waste district, and see whether we're going to put a cap like per person per day, and which tires we're going to accept to kind of keep businesses out of it and stuff like that. Our main target is like mosquito control, and getting rid of those tires that are just laying around the county.
Very good.
So
Good.
I just need approval to keep going along with the process.
Okay,
So move.
Second.
okay.
Good work.
I vote in favor of that also. I think that's a good
I think only Stan.
aggressive way to use funds to do property cleanup.
Thanks.
Stan, the only signature that we need on these, it's one copy for her, one for me, is your signature at the top there. And then she'll go to council next week and get it finished up.
What's your last name?
Wolfram, WOLFRUM.
You're the director.
No,
What's your
just an environmentalist.
What's your first name?
Tara, Tara.
Thank you, Chair.
Good.
There's your copy. I'll
Okay.
keep mine. and I'll see you next week.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Tara.
Thanks.
Or Matt, or gave you to.
Thank you. All right, now for my stuff. Okay, I passed out to you guys before the meeting, both the animal shelter and animal control reports. We can do the shelter report first. I got the press copies of that as well. And it looks like over here on the bottom left, she is putting totals now.
Okay.
So, animal shelter report.
Well, and I don't know if you guys are aware, we had a meeting a couple weeks ago with Mark and myself and Tony and Mike and Cindy Heiser, because there was some things to work out as far as the understanding the contract. And so Mark was going to work on maybe adjusting a couple things and representing that contract to both of us. So that way it'll be a lot more clear as far as where their responsibility lay and where ours lay. And so anyway, it was a very good meeting. I thought it was very positive.
I know they do a nice job of trying to rehome those animals, and I really appreciate that from them. That's a tough job, and I think they've got their hearts in the right place, trying to help us out, help the community out. I appreciate that.
Yep, very good. So I'd accept a motion to enter this report into record.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Motion carries.
Okay. So next, we'll just do the animal control report, which I also passed out to you and to the press, submitted by Chad Springer.
No raccoons or possums.
Would be for the month of February, by the way.
Okay. Any questions on that?
Make motion we accept.
Second the report.
Good. Animal control report into, thank you guys.
And this is one of those months where, because you're not meeting until the 19th, we need to pre-approve a couple things. First one, and this is per ordinance 2024-1, that you will pre-approve the accounts payable claim. And I think all three of you came up and kind of looked through what you're going to be seeing, because there's no way, the way the software works, the accesses and everything, that we can just send it until the final copy that you guys will get later, but at least you were able to see them and ask any questions you had, giving the pre-approval.
Yeah, so if you've all had it, I know I've had a chance to look at it, and a couple questions I had were answered, and so I don't know if you guys have had a chance to look at it, and if you've got any questions.
I had a chance to look at it, and I'll make a motion we accept it as.
I'll second.
Okay, and this will approve the claims, pre-approve the claims as presented, so.
And,
All right.
and Tony, is that, as we think about that whole claims process, what's the schedule again that causes that to be? What is your payment schedule again?
They are approved every 2 weeks.
And did we talk about moving that to maybe a first and third or something like
I
that,
think
so
we
we
had
could get
talked-
away from this issue?
I think we had talked about that. Doing that could create some other issues.
It would affect the whole claims cycle.
I agree, and I do remember, we mentioned to the sheriff, and the sheriff's comment was, it would be great to do that, that way he would know exactly when his claims were due. I think anytime you schedule something every 2 weeks, because of the way the calendar runs, just is not a very, not a
So you're maybe talking
routine
about
there
doing
struggles.
1st and 15th or something.
Whatever, I'm just not, and, you know, I've been paying claims most of my career, and there's usually a routine date on the calendar that you can point to say your claims have to be in by the 15th, or they have to be in by the 30th, they have to be in by the 1st, 2nd Tuesday, and 3rd, 4th Tuesday, or something that's routine versus every 2 weeks. It's like, is this a claim state? Is this a claims week or not? Well, I have to go back, and there's always
Well,
kind of that question.
In answer to some of that, the departments all should have printed and hung up the claim cycle, when they're due.
You understand how much easier it would be though, Tony, if we just knew that
Yes,
it was,
Part of that's-
and I think we could avoid this issue.
Part of that would be re-educating all the departments. I mean, I will look into it.
I don't
Steve.
get it that it would be that difficult.
I will look into that and we'll see how that goes. I mean, the change kind of happened because you gave up a meeting.
I understand that, but also we have to remember that every county except Allen County only meets twice a month, and they've got this
Right.
figured out.
Well, I'm sure we can figure it out. It's a change, and it's something we have to look at and try to figure out the best way to do that. I don't know how many bills are out there that are required to be paid at a certain time.
And again, those are, I think those can be handled in a regular claim cycle. The struggle is that when you have a claim cycle that is not repetitive from a calendar perspective, then you end up with these situations that are just off.
Well, let me look over the scenarios. I mean, quite frankly, if we did it less often, it'd be easier on us too.
Yeah, I don't know that that's would be, I used to, it would be slightly less often. You'd have 24 claim cycles versus 26.
So we'll look at that and see what we can figure out.
I would say this is maybe an issue that we can give them a little bit of grace time-wise, since they're just orienting a new employee. So
Absolutely.
they've been operating short one employee for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I guess till we get that new employee oriented, and then,
Doesn't mean we can't start looking at it.
Yeah, I just know change is difficult and
Yeah.
people are hesitant to change, but I think that's a change that I think is worth pursuing.
I'm not putting the kibosh on it. I'm just saying, give us a little time
Okay.
to look at the process and see potential problems, whatever, and then we'll try to get that figured out and present it to you and to you guys and see if that would be appropriate.
Good.
Okay. Very good.
Did we get a vote on that yet?
Yeah, I take a
Yes.
motion to approve the claims as presented.
Okay.
Okay. Motion carries.
Okay, so along with that, the other pre-approval is for payroll claims, and that's also per ordinance 2024-1. So that will come before you to sign on the 19th also.
So moved.
Second.
That
Very
is all
good.
that I have.
All right. Thank you, Tony. All right, Nate?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Couple of different updates for you, just in regards to the small structures and culvert replacements. My approvals went out to vendors and contractors, about 2 weeks ago now, so fabrication should be starting on those pipes, and contractors are starting to get their schedules laid out as far as when they can start on that work. No action from the commissioner is necessary, I'm just letting you know, so as they start coming up, notes will go out to dispatch and the sheriff's office to make sure that emergency personnel know what's going on and what closures were happening and at what times.
Is there a lot of lead time on those small structure items?
Some more than others. Probably the best case scenario, even on the steel, can be 4 to 6 weeks.
Really?
Because really they're running certain gauges of steel for certain pipes at that time, so they'll get rolls of that in. They'll make anything that's on their list, and then they'll change the gauge and start making different sizes for that. So I need to be somewhat ahead. I'd like to try to be buying these structures in the fall the year before, and then I'm going to my contractors. I just wasn't sure what I was going to be running into, and I just kind of need to squeeze it into my schedule for the start. So certain things that I'm doing right now, don't assume will be the exact schedule I'll follow, because some of them just market-wise don't always make perfect sense. I'd like to, when they're slow in the winter, try to get quotes and then order that, because then they can hold on to those pipes or the culvert concrete boxes. The concrete boxes, back to that, those can be 12 weeks because there's fabrication shop drawings, and then they need to get their formwork set up to try to make those for me. And then there's just a little bit of that internal cure time before they're trying to lift those up and put them on trucks. So there won't be any of those going on here in the next month or two, because I won't even have the pipes by then. So a lot of this is going to be late summer, early fall, but I do have a hard date to get those in so that we can pave over those. So my next step will be contacting paving contractors to get quotes for overlay above the top of those. Any other questions about that?
Nope.
Bridge 58, that's one of the rehab projects that USI has been working on for us. That project is ready to go out for bid. I've done a plan review. I'm satisfied with it. We've updated the cost estimates. I think I've shared some of that information with each of you individually. The project itself is a mill hydro demo, which essentially take high pressure water jets to clear off any of the loose concrete that's laminated on the deck. And then we'll repair any damaged rebar. Maybe there's corrosion that's going on that's causing that delamination. A lot of the wear has just been surface wear, but sometimes you just get corrosion to steel. So galvanic anodes will be added to try to resist that corrosion in that steel. And then any of the new steel would be epoxy coated that we put on there. And then there's a 2-inch minimum latex modified concrete overlay that would go onto that. So that is kind of the rough scope of the project there. Overall, I'm estimating this being under a $200,000 project. So we have enough money in our bridge replacement line item in the budget currently, so I'm not concerned about moving any money specific to that project. The schedule, my plan is to, with your approval today, I would send it off to the newspapers this week, and then it would get advertised next Wednesday, and then the following Wednesday, and then we'll have a bid opening at the highway department on April, I believe, what did I say on that? Write it down here, sorry. I believe it's that Thursday before your meeting. So, I believe that's April 11th, but it might be the 18th on that. Did I give you the copy of that, Eric? What did that date say? I'm sorry. I should have wrote that down on my notes here. April 11th. Thank you. So that's when we'll have our bid opening. It'll be open to the public for that, and then I'll just take them under advisement and bring them to you at your next meeting for acceptance. So that's the scope. If you're satisfied with that, I have plans here. I just need to have your signatures on those so that can be published next week.
Okay. I accept a motion to go ahead with advertising for Bridge 58 rehab.
So moved.
And approving that project.
Second.
Okay, I'm going in favor of that also. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you can sign it whenever, that's fine. So, couple other just updates or just kind of notes for you. I am planning to move some funds within the Cume Bridge budget this year. There is additional funds in the technical services line item, and my plan is to move that from technical services to the bridge replacement. It's not necessary for this project, but it is something that I'm looking at for purchasing of other small structures, as you kind of mentioned, Stan. There are a number of concrete boxes that I would like to buy for 2025. Some of those being load rated currently. I'd like to get those acquired later this year, but I'm working on right of way and sizing with the surveyor's office, but I think it just makes sense. I don't need it in any hurry, but it's something that I want to talk to council about. I'll probably turn that in for them to consider next week. Fortunately, I'll be at road school, so if there's questions, I may have to come back in April and talk to them again, but I think it makes good sense and it's a safe number for that. Let's see here. Yeah.
Well, that's gonna be a nice amount to move, especially if we don't need that for technical services. I see that as another big advantage to having you here in the
Oh,
county.
yep. No, I'm looking at the budget pretty closely as far as trying to streamline some things, making sure that we've got, it's a comfortable amount that's left over. And I want to be able to show to you, the public and council, that we're putting money on construction. I mean, consulting is necessary in different aspects, but I want to show as much construction dollars that the taxes you're spending are going to concrete, steel, going to these sort of products in the road right of way. So, and I'll keep track of that and document that as we kind of move forward. And hopefully we'll be spending more with grant money than we're even bringing in. So
Very
we'll
good.
see how that goes.
Thank you for doing that.
Just an update for you. I've been working on our bridge 5-year plan. I've shown each of you that kind of targeted schedule of projects. There's different grants that I'm going to be going after, so that'll depend quite a bit on it. Hopefully with the phase 2, which is the next bridge inspection cycle, that's going to happen this summer, I'm going to do some heavy updates for that for the long-term future. Everything right now is just kind of tied to projects that are already in design, but I'm looking at what projects are we going to do after those are completed. So there'll be a number of changes for the 3 years and out are going to be happening quite a bit this summer. So I'm kind of excited to see what that'll leave me with. So I've been working with Brad there. He is planning on doing some bridge clearing and grubbing. That's essentially removal of the scrub trees that are around a couple of bridges. That showed up on one of the inspection reports that I have here. And him and the guys are going to be looking at scheduling some of that work for us. So that'll save us quite a bit in an extra contract that we don't need to do. So thank you to Brad and Paul for working with me on that. Bridge conference, I wasn't here last week, as you noticed, so NDOT was putting on a fairly good, and I was happy to have that as a webinar. It means I didn't have to go down to Indianapolis to sit around for 10 hours while they did that conference. I could do that from the office. So again, that was a good program. And just a note for you, ERC recertification. I did complete my basic ERC recertification. That's annual class. It doesn't take very long to do, but just want to make sure you know I'm keeping up on that as my responsibilities for you on your bridge and any federal grants we have. So other than that, when you can, this is up here. This is actually the spec document, so that's the book that'll go along with that when it's advertised. So you can sign that after the meeting or when you get a chance. Okay. Again,
All right.
thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you.
I will. I will see if I can.
All right. Brad, did you have anything for us?
Yep, not much today.
All right.
One permit. So I have one permit today from Jay County REMC on County Road 700 South between 27 and 150 West, the project we've been working on for quite a few years now. So REMC is the last utility that needs to move. So they have filled out a permit and updated us that they are now working with NDOT on, so they got to submit plans to them, they got to find the right of way, do all that. So now it's to them discussing with NDOT, and there's some issues.
So they've got to deal with NDOT on 700 South on the county road?
They're crossing under 27 off of 700, on 700
Right.
South.
Okay.
So yes, they've got to deal with NDOT.
Yeah.
They do. Yep. So anyhow, that's what the permit's for, so at least we're moving forward. And they're gonna, so on 700 South, they're gonna move all their poles back. That's what the permit is for.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good. Good.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right. Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, and while you gentlemen are signing this, just letting you know that with the weather being nicer as it is, and it's starting to dry out a little bit, next week, we're gonna do our normal spring stoning of stone roads. So we'll go out and we're gonna haul
quite a bit of stone, a lot more than we do through the winter. We're gonna grade them, get rid of potholes and that kind of stuff. So,
Good,
yeah. Yeah, we struggled through the winter with it and now we're gonna hit her hard.
good. Once again, what's the miles of stone roads we have?
106.
106.
Yeah. So that's all I got.
All right. Any
Thank you.
questions for Brad? All right. Thank you. I saw when I was down there the other day, Brad, that, looks like they were unloading insulation and
Oh.
roofing materials.
Yes, just an update there. They started on our roof last week
Okay,
and they expect about 3 weeks. So, yep,
Okay.
they're moving right along. Weather's been good,
so
so,
that's not gonna affect you guys as far as office work or
Nope.
anything else?
nope.
Okay.
Yeah, they scare us every now and then when they drop stuff on the roof, but other than that, that's all right.
All right, thank you. All right, Rick, did you have anything for us?
Quite a few updates for you. The AC unit for the power room is installed, up and working. So that's,
So do we have to keep that room as cool as we do the
I
server
don't believe
room?
they do. I think they like to keep it, from when I looked the last few days, about 67 in there. And maybe as more equipment goes in there, that might have to be bumped down, but no, not like the server room.
Okay.
But it's working good. It looks good. We have a chance to look at it.
Good.
There was an AC condenser unit out where the generator's going to be set on the east side of the building. We have that moved now, not interfering with the generator.
I knew something changed out there. I just couldn't put my finger on it. I walk by it all the time when I come to this meeting, but now that you say that, it's like, yeah, I saw that. Just didn't know what I was seeing.
As of yesterday, still the same date for the generator. First of April. At the courthouse, the main courthouse, circuit court, we're putting new exit signs and emergency lighting up. I haven't been over there with the fire marshal yet, but he wants to go this week or next, but the problem was with them, they were different color, they have to be the same color. For whatever reason, yeah, for colorblind people, so they're getting changed. There's not that many, I believe there's like 4 of them there.
Next, we'll have to put exit signs up in 12 different
Oh, my gosh.
languages.
Now you would think colorblind people wouldn't give a shit.
Also over there, the lighting that lit up the clock in the clock tower wasn't working, but I've got that fixed now, so the lights are shining.
Is the clock working?
Yeah, it is. I think I gotta change it, Monday. Daylight savings time. The double doors, the gymnasium,
Mhm.
that hardware is installed, it's all connected and working.
Good.
So that's done. As we speak, in the main server room, there needed to be some more ductwork ran in there. I don't know, Stan, you might have recalled going in there.
I didn't remember, oh yeah, because you had to have another air
Yeah,
intake or something,
That's
or
good.
had to have it removed or something, I forget how.
we're adding. They put more racks in there, so to compensate for that rack, there'll be another cold air
Okay,
return. They're doing that as we speak right now. It was kind of a busy week last week, but I gotta get back around to these offices and take care of that fire marshal list. It's not over the top. It's just gonna require some power strips like I stated.
so did everybody get rid of their extension cords?
You know, for the most part, and I gotta just make sure he sent me the pictures, the list, I just gotta go in there. If not, we'll get it corrected. There's other things, but that's not all I got today.
Well, very good. Well, I feel good about all the work, all the projects you've done over the last couple of years in this building as far as the new elevator and the new air handlers, air conditioners and the boiler work and just all the things that,
You know, it's kind of been a year for that elevator already, believe it or not, because we kind of did it before tax time. Somewhere around there, we waited till after. We had to have some issues with that. Nothing, the button wanted to stick on it. So then it wants to keep the door open, so I had a conversation last Friday with them that we need that fixed because their factory warranty will run out when that time comes. So, better now, I think.
so what do we have, a 1-year warranty on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So next year, and it's kind of the same way with the chillers, guys, I'll probably budget or come to you about, having some warranty on that equipment. So, budget it.
Well, and even up top between having the new chillers up there and having the new roof on, and I just kind of feel like we've really made some major improvements to this building.
I think the next big one, we know how long it's taking, is just getting that generator in.
Right. Yeah.
So,
All right. So one of the things we talked, and I don't remember if we talked about it in an IT meeting or if we talked about making some temporary adjustments to move the panels to activate 2 of the panels in the power room even before the generator got here. So I don't know if that was something that,
that's being, I believe Bob's trying to get calculations on that, for it to go on our generator and getting maybe another UPS, which I think they were gonna do anyway, to compensate for that. So it was a situation where I may have to take some stuff off that generator to accommodate
I see.
till, for instance, all the refrigeration and stuff, food bank is on that generator. It may be a little lapse time here where I don't have enough power to suffice what they're
That
doing.
probably has a huge startup draw
Big
on
time.
all those.
That's the problem.
But if you can get that done, then we can pull those panels out of the server room
Yes,
and get that.
that's what that's all about.
Right. Very good. Any other questions for Rick? Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
All right, Ed.
I have no, I will have the end of the month report at your next meeting in 2 weeks.
Okay. Thank you. See, Sandy's not here. Mark Wynn's not coming in. Mark, did you have anything for us?
Yeah, a couple things. Get the certificate of appointment for Shannon as the ADA compliance officer, and that would be for starting now and for the remainder of 2024. You actually approved that last week. This is the form this week for you to sign. Just need a motion to approve the execution of the appointment.
So move.
Second.
Good.
All right.
So, Steve, are you kind of disappointed that you're not able to do that anymore?
It's a big burden off me, I'll tell you. It's been a tough wagon to pull, but I'm okay.
All right, good.
Big shoes to fill too, huh?
Yeah. Well, I bet you do it better than I did.
We just
How's that?
need to tell you you're fired.
I know, I hear you. I get it. Don't need to tell me twice.
And then, Tony, do you have we need an ordinance number? 1 second. Number 3.
Okay. So the Plan Commission and, Building Department and their attorney, Pat Hess, has been working on a new article to our county code of ordinances, and this would be Article 7. It would be a new addition to the code of ordinances, and this is a unsafe building and premises ordinance. And so they put this together. We reviewed it, and this is something that we just want to get introduced today, and then probably bring it back next week. I'll make a copy for the press. And then if it's adopted, then we'll need to publish this ordinance 2 times. There are provisions in the ordinance for fines and penalties. And so anytime an ordinance has a provision for fines or penalties, then we have to publish that 2 times to make the public aware of the provisions of that ordinance and the penalties. And the ordinance is pretty long. We just have to we have to publish a synopsis of the ordinance that covers the penalty provisions. So the actual publication is shorter, but it'll reference the full text of the ordinance once that's adopted. So this is ordinance 2024-3, and it's a addition, and it's a new article, be Article 7 to the Building Code of Adams County, which is captioned unsafe buildings and premises. And the provisions of this code are applicable to all existing residential, non-residential, and agricultural structures. The premises on which the structure is located in all yards, spaces, and areas adjoining the structure within the unincorporated area of Adams County. This code shall consist or constitute minimum standards for basic equipment, lighting, ventilation, heating, and electrical service, space, protection from elements, safety, sanitary maintenance, and other hazards. Compliance with the code is the responsibility of owners, operators, and occupants of structures. And so the ordinance then sets out all the provisions. Basically, it is to provide regulations for structures that have become unsafe or constituting any sort of public safety or health hazard within the county, and then provides a mechanism for enforcement and require homeowners or property owners to make sure that the structures comply with these requirements. And so at this point in time, I think I just need a motion to introduce this ordinance, and we'll make a copy, make it a matter of record, and then I'll come back next week with adopting ordinance that if you decide to adopt it, then next week it can be adopted and we can publish it, and then it can go into effect. So I just need a motion to introduce ordinance 2024-3 and then table that ordinance for further consideration at a subsequent meeting.
So move.
Second.
Okay. Does this ordinance include enforcement other than fines or
Well, yeah, I mean, it could,
beyond fines?
yeah, it could require, the building to come down.
Okay.
Now, that, then if the property owner does not do that, then we'd have to get an order from the court and then order it to be taken down. And you actually have to create an unsafe building ordinance fund in the general fund. So that is another one of the requirements. I'll be talking to Tony about that. And I spoke to the city of Decatur. They have an unsafe building ordinance that regulates buildings within the city of Decatur, and they have an unsafe building ordinance fund, and they fund that with a minimum, I believe, of $150,000 is what they keep in there. And then any penalties, any fines that are paid or levied then go into that fund, and it's a non-reverting fund. And so it stays in there, and the money in that fund then can be used by the county, once you adopt this ordinance, to actually accomplish, any sort of demolition that might be necessary, so that you have a fund to pay for those expenses.
and then obviously seek reimbursement either directly from the property owner or have the property sold and then the proceeds from the sale applied towards the cost. So anyway,
I
that's
thought we had created a line, when we adopted the nuisance ordinance, didn't we create a line item?
probably for that ordinance, but this is a separate thing.
I'm just looking for it again. Okay, well, anyway, I'd vote in favor of that also.
Okay, did we have a motion to introduce that then?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody vote on that?
Yeah.
All right,
Motion by Steve, seconded by Steve.
all right. I'll make a copy
Pretty
of it.
safe way to say it.
Do you want me to make you a hard copy or do you want me to just have it emailed to you?
If you email it, I think that's.
Yeah.
Is that all
that's
right?
fine.
All right. Clayton, you want to send an email of that ordinance to the commissioners?
Yeah.
And you can put on the cover page of this ordinance, then it's Adams County Board of Commissioners Ordinance 2024-3.
Yep.
And I'll make a copy of it here for the press, for your information, so. Any questions?
I don't have any questions. Sorry.
Until I read it, then I'm like.
Yeah.
I've got one thing then too. Multiple department heads have brought this to me, so, and this is more of just an FYI for, I guess, the residents of Adams County. So some residents have been receiving by mail, offers to purchase their land from various entities. A lot of times that correspondence also incorporates a proposed purchase agreement. My review of multiple of them, it's definitely an undervaluation of that land. So while it's not a scam necessarily, I mean, it's completely legal to do that, to offer to buy their land. I would just say if the press could put in, obviously, if you receive something like this in the mail, the best course of action is to probably consult with someone, or whether it's an attorney or.
Trusted advisor.
Yeah. Talk to seek some type of advisement before signing and locking yourself.
Maybe
into
even
something
just a
like this.
realtor.
But yeah, a realtor even, just to assess what the value of your property actually is.
Those are low amounts, they offer the property. Low.
Yes.
Do you have anything else, Mark?
No, that's it.
I had, as far as our appointment to the health board, do we need to do that appointment? Because I know the council had their appointment, which was Barry Shearer. I don't know, and I can't remember if we still needed an appointment to the,
Seemed to me like we do because
To the health
they took Barry from us.
Right.
Now, we have one that we have to make that is more particular, the qualification is more particular than theirs was.
Yeah, the one that you have is, well, I think there was two. One that was recommended by the city of Decatur, which I think you did that.
We did that one.
And then, that person has declined to take it. Okay.
was that Nathan Landis or who?
We called him to come and sign the appointment form, and whoever talked to him, he just told them that he would think about it. He never said that he would do it, and he has now said he does not want to do it.
Should we wait and take,
Is that accurate, Clayton?
Yeah, and I notified Ann of that, that the mayor needs to make new nominations. Because obviously, I mean, it falls on their office to be the ones to reach out to the nominees to see whether or not they'll accept the decision. So, I mean, that's not something we have to do.
so we're just kind of waiting on them from
Yeah, she's aware.
additional.
I mean, that was a day after, I think, we appointed him, and I emailed her on that day and said that the mayor needs to provide new nominations for that appointment. So, and then I sent to you guys last week the enumerated requirements for your appointment, yeah. And then it's the same as the mayor's.
Okay, well, I guess we'll wait on that. And then as far as the sewer board, what do you think? Do we have, I know I saw in your chain of emails, there's several names.
It's several
Thrown
names,
out there.
several names thrown out. Yeah, I don't know that I have a preference of one over the other.
There again, should we wait on them, Mark, to see?
I would
what they-
want to make sure that that they're willing to accept the appointment.
And we really haven't offered that to anybody yet, I don't think,
I don't believe.
from the sewer board perspective.
Cause there was, as like I said on those emails, there were several names thrown out there. So I don't know that we have an official list of
Yeah, I think
names to.
maybe, just let me, I think I kind of forget what my role was in that, with them just asking the question,
Well,
maybe poking the
you
bear,
had-
maybe, I'm not sure what.
You had a name that had more of the financial.
Yes, I have a name that was a little more financial based. I think maybe the sewer district had made a proposal that was more of somebody that was actually a customer of the district and maybe had some experience, and maybe there was a couple of other names. I think what happened was that the email that I had sent to you guys eventually got forwarded on to the sewer district, so then they had some thoughts on it as well. So let me pull that back together, Stan, and
Okay.
see if I can at least bring those names back to y'all and we can hash it out a little bit.
And I don't know how many people are on the sewer board or how urgent that is that we fill that spot.
Yeah, I'm,
Okay.
Mark, do you know, are there 7 members on that sewer board? Is that a 7-member board? And I believe all those seats are filled except for the one we need to fill.
One, yeah. And I think that was Dick Lambert.
Yeah,
So it's not like we gotta, boom,
No,
get somebody
no.
else.
so this is a result of Dick Lambert, who's
Yeah.
been on it since the beginning, resigning.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think you're under the gun.
I'll make a note, Stan, and pull those names back together and get them
Yeah,
back out in
and
front
we
of
can-
us all again.
That probably would be nice to have that. So, and I don't know if you guys got the email that, there was another distribution, and I don't know if that's come into our fund yet or not for the opioid.
It has. I entered that yesterday, we got the FG on it from the treasurer's office yesterday,
Gotcha.
like 107,000 for one and 43,000 for the other.
Yeah.
Restricted and unrestricted.
Yeah. So anyway, keep that in the back of your mind, because of course, last year we did it as a grant. We'll have to decide if we want to do it the same way this year, or how you want to do that, especially since the monies are available to us right now, so.
And if I remember correctly, Stan, we only dispersed 50% of those funds last year because
Yes.
we held 50% back for a residential treatment facility, which we really didn't have.
Well, yeah,
an
out of
applicant at the
the
time.
75,000, we dispersed half.
Right.
But somebody told me that he's got a house that he's rented, so if he has actual housing, then he would be eligible for the other half. which
To
is
apply for that other
designated
half.
For housing.
He's on the agenda for you guys on the 19th.
Okay. So, you know, and then we'll have to,
No, I think I'll be there for the 19th.
we'll have to kind of look and see, you know, with the leftover funds after the grant plus the new funds,
Right.
you know, what we're gonna have to work with.
I thought we gave him
Coming
75.
in, so.
Well, no, we only 75, we gave him half that. 37.5 or something, the other 37.5. That's in my head now. My memory is, trusting my memory is a pretty sketchy way to go, but that's what I remember.
Some odd reason, I think the first payment was
150, we gave him 75.
Yeah, I think, I could be wrong.
We can, well, that's okay.
Yeah. Shannon, did you have anything for us? Oh, Sandy was here. She must have left.
She's here.
She's right back there.
Oh, duh. Are you okay? Because sometimes Shannon will go on for hours and hours, so.
Don't let it.
All right.
So just a couple things today. So I wanted to get y'all's opinions and thoughts on the possibility of closing the offices on the day of the eclipse, which is Monday, 4/8/24. There's been a lot of discussion in my email from other HR entities and other cities, counties, and towns, and a lot of them are closing that are in the total path. And then the schools in Adams County are closing. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention and give you an opportunity to discuss.
I guess it's my thought, given that the schools are closing and given the amount of extra traffic that we're gonna have in solar bedlam going on in the county, I guess I would like to see offices closed at least from noon on. But if we did that, it would be unpaid for employees. So I don't know, what are you guys' thoughts?
What, are you hearing anybody doing that, or is it, in your discussion with other counties, is it kind of all or nothing, or?
It's been very 50-50.
Okay.
So a lot of the counties are saying that they are either staying open or they're closing. And then of the ones that are closing, half and half are paid versus unpaid.
Okay.
So I would agree with Stan. My recommendation would be for it to be either unpaid or they can use PTO if they want to. I don't think that we can require the 24-hour facilities to work and then pay the staff that gets to stay there for the day. I don't think that's the right way to go.
Not fair.
What time is the event?
I think the totality is from like 1:52 to
3:01 to 3:11.
There we go.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're up here.
For
Yeah.
the total.
for
That's the
total.
total.
Yeah, saying it'll start sooner than that, that's the total.
I think partial starts at 1:30 or something. So
Yeah.
the intention was to just give everybody an opportunity to get home safely if they live outside of the county, to deal with traffic, so we don't have to worry about people trying to get home when it's chaotic, if it's chaotic.
Thoughts? Mark?
It's up to you guys.
Makes sense to me, Stan.
Sure.
Is it something where they give them the option, or are you making them close and they have to burn time? Or is it their option, they can come into work if they want to, if they don't want to burn their time?
Well, I think we have to make a public announcement as far as whether county offices will be open or closed.
Okay.
And
And, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I did talk to Judge Conrad and Sandy, and they're both on board for the
With
courts.
closing it then.
With the courts, they're on board.
They said they would make that work.
To me, it makes sense to me. I would not want to let it up to the employee or even the department head. I think if we close, we close, except for those entities that have to work 24/7. And I agree, close at noon and unpaid or PTO makes sense to me.
So they can choose either one then? Is that what you're saying?
No, what now?
No, that's not what they're
Unpaid.
saying.
Unpaid
No, they,
or take PTO is what I said.
That's what Brad's saying, they can choose. It's
Yeah,
unpaid
it
or
would be,
Oh.
it would be unpaid,
Oh,
but they can always
yeah.
use PTO.
Yeah.
I
thought
thought you
you
meant
meant
they could
something
choose
else.
whether to come in or not.
No.
No.
Okay.
I just wanted to clarify.
So, okay, so officially, we're gonna close county offices on April 8th at
At
noon.
noon.
What happens if it's cloudy?
I'm sorry.
If it's raining,
You know it's gonna be.
It's still gonna be dark. That's
Close, we close. We're not weather prognosticators.
but
I-
to notify for the public, I think you're closed no matter what. You're closed.
I think the traffic is going to be the traffic. They'll be here regardless, and then they'll just either be happy or disappointed.
Our worst case scenario is what we're finding out is if it would be raining in southern Indiana and we have clear skies up here, for some reason, if that happens, then we are looking at like double the trouble, honestly.
Oh,
Because they're gonna travel north to see it. So if there's a front going through southern Indiana, most likely those people are gonna travel north, which would be more of a problem for us. And if it's cloudy and rainy and it's forecast that way, then we get a break. But you're gonna have to notify the public that we're closed at noon. I don't think if it's raining, then say we're gonna be open. I think it's all or nothing.
well, let me ask you this, from the standpoint of emergency management and traffic, anticipated traffic buildup and stuff, our concern is that employees are able to get where they want to be out of the bedlam by the time it
It
happens.
happens.
Do
Yeah,
you
so
think,
closing at noon should give them ample time to
okay,
get home.
that's what I was gonna
Yes.
ask you, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
because like she said, the schools are closed, all sporting events have been canceled and suspended, to keep the buses off the road and so on and so forth. So basically, all that type of stuff is shut down.
Okay,
Make a motion that we close on April 8th at noon.
Second.
okay, I'd vote in favor of that
Rick
also.
McCoy said that if it's cloudy or stormy or whatever, you won't see the eclipse, but he said the darkness will be like 3 in the morning. It's gonna still get dark.
Animals will run wild and women will birth babies and the whole world will.
So my next thing is that a couple months ago, we had talked about getting a new scanner in my office. So I just need official approval for that, if you guys are okay with it. It is on sale right now. It's $250 off. So I have the quote for it if you're ready to take off.
How many dollars are we talking?
$1,100.
Motion approved.
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
And then the other thing that I have is I've been working with Dan and a company called BLR, which is a learning management system to implement a training program countywide. So I have a service agreement in front of me that they sent, and I asked Clayton to look over it yesterday, and he's good with it. Should you guys choose to accept it, it would be effective April 1st of 2024, and we'd have access to roughly 290 courses that we could apply across all county offices, whether it be employees, supervisors, department heads, whatever the case may be. And the total for a 12-month term is $7,752. And like I said, it would be effective April 1, and then I would monitor it and make sure that within the 12 months that we're getting our money's worth, and then report back to you guys probably around month 9 or so, just to make sure that it's something that we want to continue. But it would be a variety of training topics that would be available, like I said, to all employees across all departments. So I have that with me.
Is that the one that Dan said that he would split with us?
Yes, yep. And so his portion would be 3,500 and your remaining portion would be about 4,500 that you guys.
This is so much half.
Don't put
Do you have, we've talked about the kind of courses that would be offered. Off the top of your head, maybe, could you tell us the kinds of courses that might be required or highly suggested that all of our employees, we're thinking sexual harassment was one of them, but that was kind of what prompted the discussion, but other kinds of topics that might be really, really important enough that we would really stress?
Yes, so there's a lot to do with the manager or supervisor / employee relationship that would be really important. So managing difficult employees, conflict resolution. There's a lot of stuff in there about employee well-being in general, so we'd be able to promote some general wellness to employees as well. There's stuff in there about the relationship from employee to employee. There's some HR specific stuff that I would be able to go through and then I could disseminate to other department heads as I felt like was appropriate. But of the 290 that comes in the package, when I went through and I looked at them, I estimated that about 50% of them would apply to either all employees or supervisors. So there was a good amount that I think we could get through in 12 months. And the good thing is they are continuously updating the courses available and the programs and things like that. So I'm kind of envisioning this being hopefully something that we have and we do a specific training every couple weeks, once a month, but then sexual harassment is the big one that we'd like to do at least annually with all employees.
I guess the part that I know that we're really lacking on is any kind of leadership or supervisory development. You know, we have folks that we kind of ask to be supervisors without really a lot of experience or training prior to that. And I think it certainly is incumbent upon us to offer and provide that training to help them be even better at that.
And the good thing about this program, Dan and I did have a demo. It is, you basically log in and it's web-based, so you can do it from anywhere, but it's intuitive. So they have to interact with the program in order for them to receive their credentials or whatever it is. But we can go through and pick who receives what, and we can push stuff out. We can monitor if they're doing it. So it's not just going to be a, hey, we're going to spend the money and then we're going to hope that they're going to get it done. I'm going to be able to, see who's doing it, who's doing what they're actually participating in.
Good.
Well, that would be my only thing. I think it definitely would be a benefit, especially to managers, especially, this being an election year next year, there might be a chance that we would have some new department heads. So, how long would this, it starts April 1st and
Yep.
it goes
This is a
For-
12-month term.
for a 12-month
Yeah,
term?
so we get it until March 31st of next year.
Okay.
And then, like I said, around month 9 or so, I feel like that would be a good chunk where I could report back to you guys and say, hey, like, I think it is worth it, it's not worth it, we should find something else, we should move on, or we should renew it. Because like I said, my goal is for a lot of this stuff to be done at least annually, especially sexual harassment. And I think for the price that we're looking at minimum, the sexual harassment is worth it, in my opinion.
So we'd be looking at probably for our part of it, a cost of about $400 a month. So if we're paying about 4,500,
Yes, I'll trust you on that, I'm not good at math.
even a little bit less. but- Okay. Well, so yeah, you guys think that's a good plan to make?
I make motion to approve.
Second.
Makes sense.
Okay.
I'm gonna be signing all of this. And then my last thing that I have is that, so I'm sure you guys are aware, over the last couple months, we've been working on a CDL training repayment program for highway and surveyor. So I have my first candidate who's gonna go through that course and that process. And so I'm very excited for him. He's in the surveyor's office, but I got him to sign the repayment agreement the other day. So he's good on that, but it just requires y'all's signatures as well. So as long as you're okay with this, then we'll have you sign this too.
Yeah, I think we agreed that that was a good, good idea.
That's all I have.
Does action need to be taken on that, Mark, for the CDL thing? Do they have to vote on it, or they just need to sign it?
I think they've already,
Adopted this day.
yeah, let me see.
So here's one, please.
So we probably do need a motion.
There, and today is 3/5.
Yeah.
That's
What is it exactly? So,
Thank you.
CDL retraining, CDL training repayment agreement, yep. And have them approve that. Need a motion to approve this CDL training repayment
Make
agreement.
motion to approve. Second.
Okay, motion carries.
And then this has all 3 of y'all's signatures on these. Thanks. My stuff.
You probably keep a lot of stuff out of the file cabinet that way too, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't have any file cabinets at all. Come back to these. Thank you.
Is that a printer or scanner that you got? 1,100, right?
Yes. 1099.
One of the things that I asked Mike about was, like, when we have somebody tuning in remote, like, say from Florida or where, sometimes their documents that are presented, they have not been emailed. So I asked him what it would take to get a document reader that we could use in conjunction with our WebEx to kind of be able to show paper documents. They were gonna kind of look into that.
Good.
Did you guys see the opioid money that we get?
I hadn't seen
All
some.
right. All right, thank you for your patience. But yeah, if you want to come up, that'd be fine.
I'm here, my name's Sandy Brown, I'm here on behalf of Safe and Adams County today along with Cindy. We're just here to ask permission on April 9th at noon. We're going to have a celebration of family and children like we do every year. It'll be on the front steps of the courthouse, and then Dr. Hippensteel is going to be our speaker. And then afterwards, it takes about 20 minutes, and then we plant the pinwheel garden in the lawn. And that's to help celebrate April being National Child Abuse Prevention Month. So that's what I was asking permission for today. We're also going to have a free family and children's carnival on April 20th from 9 to 11 at Riverside. But just would appreciate.
What time does the Operation Safe program start?
Thank you.
What time does the Operation Safe program start?
At noon,
At
and we'll probably be done around 12:30.
Okay.
And then we kind of keep the upkeep on the, and also they kind of get blown off depending on.
Weather is not fine too. Oops.
And Cindy's also going to give you, we've really grown our state council. It includes Healthy Families, Firefly, the hospital, family-centered services, and then our local DCS and Adams Wells Crisis Center. And then we also have retired teachers now on our council. So we've really expanded, and we've also kind of started highlighting human trafficking a lot more. We've gone through the KNOT, which is out of Indianapolis. And for Colts fans, I'm sorry, but it was started by Reese, that used to be the former coach, correct, of the Colts. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it.
What about Bears fans?
But anyways, it's just a nice little guide that we've been trying to get out to the community and out to the schools too. And then we're also responsible for getting programs to keep kids safe, body safety programs in our schools. So just a little bit about SAFE. And just on a side note real quick, I would like to shout out to Shannon and to our IT department. Shannon's just tremendous, and I just think she's such a blessing for our county. She's just really helped all of our employees a lot. And also, we're getting new laptops with docking stations in our courtroom for the court staff today. And IT's been in and out, and I just really want to commend them. They just always do such a nice job and do it kindly and kind of help along all of us folks that don't know a lot about technology.
Well, I'm glad you
Thank
said
you.
something before we fired her, so.
Wow, she is. She's cold.
Steve wants that ADA job back.
No, I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. I think Shannon has, and I look back to before we had a full-time HR coordinator. And I just don't know how we did it. I know Mark did a lion's share of the load, and Aaron helped too, but having a full-time HR, just a minute please, having a full-time HR person has just been a huge benefit to our employees, to help them be educated and be more efficient, and it's been a huge benefit to us as an employer, and so I 100% agree with
We
you.
just hired Connie Jerrigan in the fall, and, we probably might not have even found her if it wasn't for Shannon, and she helped us with all the interviews. It was just such a big help.
Yeah,
Oldest man.
so,
Need a motion for on this, Stan?
yes,
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
I'll vote in favor of that also.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Sandy.
All right, that's April 9th, starting at noon, and so,
And we'll probably be done around 12:30, 12:45.
okay. All right, thank you very much for doing that. Okay. Gentlemen, anything else from committee reports, anything that you'd like to bring up?
I don't have anything.
No, nothing for me.
Okay.
I guess I can give you a quick update on the countywide.
Yeah, I
vision
did
plan.
not make it to the meeting Friday.
The steering committee met last Friday. Had a nice smaller group of attendees, but the steering committee met, and generally just the upshot of it was we talked a lot about kind of where we go from here. And the next step the committee believes is to move toward hiring a consultant to work with us to help us plot the course. So the next meeting, we are going to invite in a representative from the Northeast Indiana Regional Coordinating Council, NERC, that will help us write the RFP, and begin that process of engaging with the consultant. So the next meeting is not set in stone yet. I wanted to find out when we can actually have a representative from NERC here. Hopefully that will be and will be sometime in the next week or two. So we've reached out to NERC to see what their availability is. I don't believe I've heard back yet, but that's kind of the next step.
So your focus, you intend to move ahead with more of a vision plan?
Yeah.
And kind of set the comprehensive land use plan, not ignore it, but.
Right. I think that obviously a vision plan has got to include the comprehensive land use plan as a
part of it.
guide, as a part of it. My intention is to speak with the Plan Commission and see if they're interested in updating that plan, which Mark and
Megan?
Pat Hess.
Who's their new chairman? It is Brad Colhagen.
Brad, okay.
I spoke with Brad and Mark. Brad's the new chairman of the Plan Commission, and Mark, and they both indicated to me that the Plan Commission would like to at least review that plan and make sure that there's anything. So I'm not sure exactly how that factors into the RFP and the consultant, whether the consultant could help them as they look at updating that plan. But at this point, the steering committee that we're looking at is focused on a vision plan. And if there's anything relative to the comprehensive land use plan, we're going to let that up to the Planning Commission and the BZA to champion that effort.
Very good. All right. Anything from the general public? If not, I accept a motion to adjourn.
So move. Second.